Good evening, and welcome to Grand Prairie City Hall for our District 1 Town Hall meeting. It's so good to see you all. I appreciate so much that you've taken your time, carved out this special time to come up here and to be involved in our city government. So thank you so much for being here. I want to ask Claudia, our marketing director, to come up here and tell you about the question and answer, because we welcome you here in person and we're welcoming those who are watching on Zoom as well. So Claudia, would you give them a few instructions?
Absolutely. Welcome everyone. Good evening. So for those of you who are watching on Zoom, if you could please enter your questions that you have on the chat, and we'll be addressing those after the presentations toward the end of the meeting. Also, if you would like to follow along on your phone, the presentations are available on our website, gptx.org, and in Ms. Clemson's page. So feel free to download those and take them with you, obviously, if you see what happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. And also, I hear that it will be available on social media. This meeting will be at a later date as well. Correct. Now, I'm so glad to see familiar faces, and I'm always glad to see new faces as well, because this is such a great opportunity to get an update, to voice your concerns and questions that you may have for District 1 or for the city. So it's my privilege to be here. I'm Jorja with a J, and Clemson, like the university. And I used to be Jorja Jackson until I met Dan Clemson, and we were married, and that's my husband, Dan, over there. Thank you, Dan, for being here. And he's so patient with me. He is very patient with me because I get to do a lot of good things in Grand Prairie, and he's always supportive. So thank you, Dan, for being here as well. For those of you who don't know, I'm a lifelong resident of Grand Prairie, Texas, and I have lived in District 1. I tried to count the years this time. I believe it's 46. So, and I've lived at 3 different neighborhoods in District 1. So I love my District 1. I love my people. I love what I'm doing. And I like being plugged in and knowing what's happening in Grand Prairie. I know since I've been here a long time, I know a lot about what has happened in Grand Prairie. And, you know, I think I have an idea, at least a vision of what's going to happen in Grand Prairie or where we're headed. So I'm excited about tonight, and I love my job. I love what I do. So thank you to all of you all who supported me and are going to let me do this for 3 more years. It's my pleasure and honor to support you. Because I love what I do. I love people. I love solving problems. And I love planning for the future. And my goal is always to serve you with excellence in this position. And for me, it is a calling. So thank you again for allowing me to do this. I know some of you are here because you want an update. Some of you are here because you have questions and concerns, suggestions, which are all welcome. And some of you are here just because you're great citizens and you're involved and you're very supportive. So thank you to all for whatever reason that you are here. Now, if you've been in Grand Prairie very long, you already know our great mayor, Ron Jensen, and we're privileged to have he and his beautiful wife, Rebecca, here tonight. Mayor Jensen, in just a minute, we're going to hear from him. I just wanted you to know how much we appreciate having him here. Also, I don't see any council members here at this time, do I? If you are, you can raise your hand. But we do, and I don't see any other elected officials, but we have fabulous staff. And we have our new city manager, Bill Hills, turn around and give you a big wave. We're so excited that he is in that position and at the helm of this fabulous city. And do we have any other, well, we have our fabulous, you've met Claudia already, who's our new marketing director. We have Mona Lisa and Gloria. Mona Lisa is our city secretary. Gloria is the one who keeps the council organized and on track. Thank you, Gloria. And we need them so much, so we appreciate their help. And we have, as you have seen, you'll hear from our chiefs, police and fire later. We'll introduce them. But we have fabulous representatives from fire and police tonight. And try me again. Oh, I didn't see Cheryl back there hiding in the corner. We have Deputy City Manager Cheryl DeLeon, and I'm telling you, she has great ideas, and she is a cheerleader for all of us. So welcome Cheryl as well. Cheryl, wave to us. Now that you know everybody in the room, let's move on here. You know, our city has experienced great success over the past 10 years that I've gotten to be here. And there are extenuating circumstances which have contributed to that. But one of the main things is great leadership and a great location that comes into play. And I believe the good Lord's favor on our city. And with that, I'd like for our fantastic mayor, Ron Jensen, to come up and say a few words.
Well, there's no baseball game that I want to watch tonight, so I'll stay tonight. My goodness, aren't the Rangers having a good run? Bill, in his infinite wisdom, chose to have a special call meeting last night that started at 5. Little did he know, none of us knew that the Rangers would be playing at 3:30. But that was okay. We got that out of the way and watched the end of it. We ended it right in time to watch Leclerc get the last 3 outs. We were all huddled around John Lopez's phone, watching it on YouTube before we went home. But Jorja, of course, Jorja and I, Dan and Rebecca, and I have known each other for a long time. Her mother, Ruthie, and I love Jorja. And she loves District 1. She loves the city, but she loves District 1. She is an advocate for you. The only thing she really advocates for outside of District 1 is pickleball. She has a focus on you, your needs in District 1, and secondly, pickleball. So I know she answers your emails promptly. She's probably one of the most prompt in getting back to you. She's the most prompt in getting things to our city manager and copying me, because she copies me on all of it, so I get to see all the traffic. And she is trying very hard to get you things you want and keep things you don't want out, which would be the trucks. We know that. We're working diligently all the time. Police is working real hard on that, and she reminds us all the time. She also is an advocate for your rights when it comes to protecting your rights as a homeowner, to try to keep the ARBs from infringing upon your rights. And that's a big issue we're all looking at right now. To bring you up to date on that a little bit, it will probably be addressed later, but I will tell you, we know about it. We're trying to do things about it, but the city of Dallas just got sued because they stepped over the bounds. So we tabled our action on it for the time being. They filed suit. The homeowners groups that are advocating for Airbnbs filed suit against the city of Dallas to put them in a holding pattern. So we decided, after legal counsel told us there's no point, because ours will be stopped too. So we are keenly aware that your District 1 is probably the most prolific district for the Airbnbs. And we understand that. George reminds us of it every executive session when we discuss it. So, we're having a great run here in the city. And things are coming into place at Epic. We're fixing to fill it out. The hotel convention center will open by the end of the year. Fedora and Sirius each will open soon. And then the last two pad sites on the south end of Epic will soon be occupied. So just hang on, there's more to come. Thank y'all for coming tonight. Thank you, Jorja.
Thank you, Mayor. And now we'd like to welcome to the microphone our fantastic Chief of Police, Daniel Sethny.
Pay no attention to the heckler over here on the side of my place. So, I've got good news, but I want to break this up into two different silos very quickly if I could. First, I'd like to touch on crime, and then I want to touch on quality of life issues. The reason I want to do it that way is because this should come as no surprise to you. District 1, crime is flat. It's a very safe district, always has been. Crime across the city is down. So we're doing very good in that respect. We used to have an issue with professional thieves coming into the neighborhoods while you're asleep and helping themselves to your items in your cars. And you've probably heard me say the same joke that I say 1,000 times. I love it that you feel safe enough to keep your doors unlocked, and I hate it that you feel safe enough to keep your doors unlocked. See, there's still a few people haven't heard that joke. So the car burglaries are down 20% through District 1, so that's really a good thing. Where we are getting our tail kicked across the country is on auto thefts this year, particularly Kias and Hyundai. So some Slipknot got on TikTok and taught the world how easy it is to steal Kias and Hyundais. And since then, we're getting destroyed. So auto thefts are up, not just in Grand Prairie, but across the United States. And if you're interested in reading more about that, the insurance companies are, some of them are no longer insuring certain models of those two manufacturers. So it's a challenge for us. We're doing everything we can. If you see a suspicious vehicle parked in your neighborhood, it may be us with bait, hoping somebody steals it, quite frankly. So we do have quite a bit of bait out there and undercover officers trying to catch the auto thieves, or making some progress. So crime, by and large, good news. Quality of life issues. I want to touch on two very quickly. One is the trucks. I want to proactively touch on that. We always take questions at the end. I brought our commercial vehicle enforcement team with us, so that with me tonight, so we can address those if you have specific questions. I will tell you that this issue is near and dear to Miss Jorja's heart. As a matter of fact, she wrangled myself and the transportation director. Well, actually, Walter's been promoted, so he's no longer the transportation director. He's a managing director, Grand Poobah director, Walter. You give him a round of applause. The three of us went around looking at the issues and how we could be a little more effective in terms of signage on the trucks coming through District 1. Sure as the world, the worst thing that could possibly happen to the police chief is an 18-wheeler comes right in front of the councilwoman. So, of course, she was involved in a traffic stop. We got to see it firsthand, and we wrote a ticket. We are finding the best way to tackle that issue is severalfold. One is we have leveraged technology. It's a system called Flock, and what it does is it alerts us when there's an 18-wheeler in the neighborhood. Kinda. Why do I say kinda? Well, this technology does not exist. What it does is it looks for license plates on passenger cars, and so we challenge them to tweak the artificial intelligence so that it would alert us when it's an 18-wheeler. The law will not allow us to go back and cite for that, but if we can at least be aware of their presence and figure out who the truck drivers are, we can then follow back up with ownership and get them to quit doing it. It is about 60% effective, but to me, 60% is better than 0%. So we're going to keep pushing them to make that better. We really increased our commercial vehicle team. These are the guys that are pulling over the 18-wheelers, they're climbing up under there, and they're checking to make sure all the U-joints and proper oil and all this stuff. All I know is it's a real big ticket. So they are very serious about writing tickets for truck route violations. The council's looking at also they added approved a road that's going to take some truck traffic that runs parallel to Duncan Perry. I see that as a win, and I recommended that. So anyway, we are moving forward on everything, all things possible as it relates to trying to tackle the truck traffic. I want to tell everybody that sometimes citizens confuse the 18-wheelers with the box trucks. Box trucks are allowed in that area. So think of the box truck like a U-Haul size truck. That is not illegal. But the ones that quite literally have 18 wheels and big trailers, those are not authorized if it's in no truck route zone. And then the other issue I want to touch on very briefly is short-term rentals. The mayor touched on it, but this is something that I personally think is very wise for us to hold right now. So the council was considering whether or not to put a ban on any future short-term rentals. And as soon as they were looking at that, Dallas and Fort Worth got sued, and an injunction was placed on their ordinances. Now, what the challenge with that for us would be is our city manager came up with a very creative idea on our ordinance that we can enforce too many cars at the location, too many people at the location. That gives my team a very tangible tool, no parking in the street, a very tangible tool that we can use when we get called out to these to take immediate action. And we don't have that on the books. And there's an injunction put on the short-term rental ordinance. That means all we can do is go there, and if it's noisy, if we hear it, we can take action. But as soon as the cops show up, everybody's got a halo above their head, and they're in the middle of Bible study, right? It's never a wild party. So this tool is effective and it's working. And I was definitely afraid, and I shared this concern with the council. Please, just let's hold and see what happens. I would love nothing more than to put a ban on these, but I think it's very wise of them to wait and see what's happening with the lawsuit so that we don't lose the tools we have on the books. If we lose the tools we have on the books, I think it's really going to affect the quality of life. So anyway, those are the two main quality of life issues I want to touch on. And as I said, crime is down. I will be in the back for questions after the show. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And I know some of you have noticed, I hope some of you have noticed, after that ride out with Walter and Chief, and we looked at places that the signage just wasn't adequate. Evidently, it wasn't adequate. Have you noticed the little red flags and then a flashing light here and there? And hopefully that will get their attention. So thank you so much, Walter and Chief and your staff as well for making that happen. Now we'd like to invite Ryan Simpson, who is Assistant Director of Code Compliance, for an update. Ryan has a hard job, so give him a big hand.
How's everybody tonight? All right, so I'll cover a couple of things related to code. First is how to contact code. So there's 4 different ways that I'll highlight tonight. So first one is you can always pick up the phone and call us, 972-237-8296. And this information is all on our website. Speaking of the website, the second way is when you go to the city's main website, gptx.org, right at the very top, kind of in the middle, you'll see a link that says report an issue. If you click that, there's a whole list of things that you can report an issue online, even stuff that doesn't have to do with code, water issues, trash issues, whatever. It's all there. So that's another method. Third method is to email us, and we have an email address that's codecomplaints@gptx.org. So that's the third option for you if that's what you'd like to do. Another thing that is pretty new, and I believe there's a sheet of, there's a flyer, in the back there, is you can now send a text message to code and other departments in the city too, to report issues. So that number is 972-640-4789. Again, there's a paper back there that has more information. But send a text to that number. It'll ask you a couple of follow-up questions and answer those, and then that'll go to the appropriate department for them to address it. The other thing I want to talk about tonight is what the city council has approved for code that will help us better serve you. And so in the new fiscal year 2024 budget that started October 1st, the city council approved 4 new positions for code compliance. So one position is going to be responsible for handling issues at commercial properties throughout the city. Another one will handle issues at vacant properties throughout the city. And then the last 2 positions are part of an abatement crew. So that their responsibility will be illegal dumping cleanup and other kind of large scale cleanup type things that occur around the city. So that's something that the city council approved in this budget, and we're very grateful that they did that for us. So, and I'll be available at the end if y'all have any questions for code or any concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. And when they turn their little complaint in, it's anonymous to the whoever is the offender. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, that helps. Thank you so much. Now, first chief, there he is. He's all ready to go.
was the heckler.
He's going to give us a fire, medical, and emergency management update. Our fantastic fire chief, award-winning fire chief.
Well, I've been very fortunate to be your fire chief for 11 years and have been through a lot of town hall meetings. So I know one thing I've learned from everybody that's attended these is just get to your point, go sit down, because most of you are here because you have questions or concerns. So we won't give you plenty of time for that. Related to District 1. So you have a fire station up off Roy Orr that has a truck and an ambulance. You have a fire station on Duncan Perry that has a fire engine and ambulance. Fire Station 1, which is off Main Street, which has a whole cadre of equipment, including an ambulance, covers international estates and sort of the southern part of District 1. And then Fire Station 3 on Marshall covers a lot of Dalworth and the other southern part of District 1. So the point for District 1 is you have 4 fire stations, you're very well covered, you have an ambulance at each station, so that when it comes to EMS and fire coverage, you're as good as it gets in the city. We are about to break ground on Fire Station 11. This is going to blow some of your minds at the corner of 287 and 360. So if you think about Grand Prairie, we actually come really close within a mile to DFW Airport. And our ETJ touches Venus, Texas. So we are over 30 miles long when it's all said and done. So it's interesting, Fire Station 11 right here is over 20 miles away. But we see a lot of growth down south. How does that pertain to District 1? Well, you got to know our fire stations are a system. They're not really district specific, they're a system specific. So if this part of the city gets really busy when it comes to storms or wrecks or whatever it is, everything from the south shifts up. So adding that station to the south just helps bring coverage to the north when we need it. I know your insurance rates have gone outrageous. We're all paying for homeowners rates because of ice storms, wildfires. We're all paying the cost across, and I know you probably recently have seen at least a 10 to 15% uptick, maybe year over year. The great news for you is we do have the best possible insurance rate of your fire department, so you're getting as competitive as it can get. We just got evaluated last week. Every 8 to 10 years, New Jersey comes into our department. They take a microscope on everything we do. They will take that back in about 8 months. I will get notified what our new rating will be, which I will come to council. I feel very comfortable we're going to still maintain that highest rating as possible, but it is getting more and more difficult because we're continually getting scrutinized by who else? New Jersey. But that is the way it goes. The rest of the story for tonight, I'll be here for ambulance questions. We operate emergency management in the fire department, which is your outdoor sirens, your FEMA stuff, your disasters. Remember the outdoor sirens, hence the word outdoor siren. During storms, we get hit with complaints that, I was asleep last night and that the siren did not wake me up. Well, remember, they're an outdoor siren. They're supposed to notify people that are outdoors to go indoor. Hopefully you have a phone or a smart device that allows you to know on storm recovery. Again, thank you for your time tonight. We're all going to be here for questions afterward. Clemson's all yours.
Thank you, sir. Now, we all ought to be feeling safer already because of that wonderful report that Chief Pat gave us. And Chief Sesney, I don't think I heard him boast about, we used to be what number, safest city in Texas?
We used to be 9, we're up to 8.
And we moved to 8. Safest city. That's fabulous. That is so fantastic. Thank you so much. And now we get to hear what's happening, really, economic development with our wonderful Marty Weeder, and everybody always wants to know, where's the new restaurant? Where can we go eat?
They do. Yeah, we're gonna go through it. If you'll allow me real quick, we'll set this up and get it going so I can show you a little bit. Here we go. We'll take you through a couple of things, follow up on some things we shared with you the last time that the Deputy Mayor Pro Tem had a town hall like this. So let me take you through. The last time we were here, it had become known that the former Air Hog Stadium was going to go away and was planned to be reconverted into the first Major League Cricket stadium in all of North America. And that's been, fortunately, it was being brought forward to us in an agreement we had reached with Major League Cricket, USA Cricket, and a group that they had hired to work with them, American Cricket Enterprises. And fortunately, all that work got done, was completed just in time for this past summer. And Major League Cricket opened up on July 13th, had their inaugural game. That, depending on who you talk to, it could have been watched anywhere from 1 billion to 2 billion people because it was shown all across the world. Cricket is the second most popular sport in the world after soccer, if you can imagine that. So a lot of people watched, and we were thrilled to see the Texas Super Kings, the local franchise that represents the state, get started in that first contest. At the end of that season, they played. They left for a short time and went to North Carolina for some contests, came back and had matches. And then here just a few weeks ago, minor league cricket had their national championship game out of the same Grand Prairie Stadium. So we're thrilled with that. And what's even better is that next June, we will see matches held here. It's just recently been announced by the International Cricket Council that there will be matches in Grand Prairie in addition to the West Indies, a stadium that's in Florida near Fort Lauderdale. They think they're going to build one up in New York. I wish them well. I hope and pray they can, but I think that's going to be unlikely. That just may mean more matches for us, but it's going to be a great event. And again, the whole world will be focused on Grand Prairie there for a number of matches. And that's all in your district where you live. And something else that you may know that's taking place, a $58 million expansion at our Bell facility, Drive Service Center. Earlier this year, we were present at a groundbreaking for that project, all due to the U.S. Army selecting Bell for the replacement of the Black Hawk, a $7 billion project for their V-280 to replace the Black Hawk. So we're thrilled at that. We're going to make you aware of something that's coming forward for zoning that's been in the works for a long time. Don't know what will take place, but we've had a gentleman acquire about 400 acres up at Riverside and 360, almost touching, actually even going further into part of Fort Worth on the other side of the Trinity River. A guy named Ken Schomburg has bought this land. It's very close, as he's pointed out, to the American Airlines global headquarters, and he's exploring with his engineers and his architects how he might be able to reclaim. He thinks about 130 acres for development there. And you're going to hear from Marine House right in a little bit. We both agree there's going to have to be a lot of work done there to substantiate development. But the nice thing about it is they've worked on their plans. They're going to be coming forward to council in the coming weeks and months and have some big ideas for the type of development they would like to see come there. I think it would bring, since the Deputy Mayor Pro Tem mentioned restaurants, certainly restaurants and retail and other kinds of development included within this project. So we're waiting to see what they're going to come forward with. This is a little bit of an outline that they've shown with the idea of, as well, some housing in that project and very upscale housing. So I think it's going to be a great addition, but the ball is in their court as to how they substantiate that. Right at that same intersection, though, on the other side, our council has just recently passed a couple of measures in the last few months to join with the property owner, the group that owns the Riverside Golf Course and built Viridian in Arlington, to team with us on the initial design of an elevated frontage road. You may recall in 2015, that area flooded. You couldn't get to it for a while. They would like to develop it, the people that own Viridian, and this is an initial look at what they would like to do with a hotel, conference center, maybe a multifamily project and some offices. So we'll still wait to see what they might do. Glad that the mayor mentioned our Epic Central project just near there, just a little bit south, next to our IKEA. In recent months, you may have seen that, you may have driven by and noticed that Andretti's Indoor Karting is nearing completion. Will open up here this year, very likely at the end of this year. Bass Pro Shop has gone vertical for a 100,000 square foot building. Big Shots Golf, owned by Club Corp of America out of Dallas, that owns a lot of country clubs across the country, is proceeding, about to buy the land from IKEA. And so there are some big things that are coming. We look forward to seeing Andretti's get open, Bass Pro as well. And again, we think Andretti will get open sometime in late 2023. That gives you an idea of what this two-story indoor karting facility looks like. There's the prototype for Big Shots Golf. All of this has come about to an extent because we've been able to show these individuals all of the different development that you can find up in the area in Collin County by the Colony and Frisco, as well as in Fort Worth near Alliance, and it's likewise here. The point is headed towards Grand Prairie, so we're thrilled at seeing that happen. We've got a flyer back in the back we left. Hopefully you picked this up. This shows some of these projects as well as others that are here. We'll look forward at the end to answering any questions you've got about the development that's taking place, and certainly are grateful to be serving you and look forward to talking with you here in the moments to come. Thank you.
Isn't that exciting? All of those things. Do you think Marty might be pretty busy when he's here at the City Hall? And probably when he's home too, because he has so much going on within our city. Now, we'd like to welcome, for the first time for us, Noreen Housewright. And what are you doing tonight? Engineering Utility Service Director, and she's going to talk about District 1 projects and the water rate change.
Hi. Good evening, how are you? I'm Noreen, I'm the Director of Engineering and Utilities. I'm just going to talk about two projects, capital projects that are going on in District 1. The first one is under construction now. You might see it's near in the Epic Central area. It's the Robinson Pump Station and Elevated Storage Tank. The pump station is going to be completed by the end of this month. There'll be some testing and it'll be online next month. And that's going to help pump more water. You'll see improvements to your water pressure. It also helps with the city with any expansion and all this wonderful development that's going on around here. The other exciting thing is we're replacing the old water tank with a 2 million gallon storage tank. And the reason why storage is really important is as you may know, we went to stage 2 this summer because our storage tanks weren't getting high enough. So one nice thing is if we get our storage up, you'll have more pressure. You also have more water because we don't use water at the same rate all day. We have peaks. So, whenever everyone's showering in the morning, getting ready for work, we need that storage tank. It comes down and then we're at work, it kind of fills back up again. So having more storage is very important for our water system. And as you can see, we're making it a beautiful water tower. This is a rendering of what it should look like at the end. The contractor is kind of doing the prototypes now for what we need to get this on our water tank. So it's going to be eye-catching and beautiful. Another project that's coming in District 1 that's probably next summer to go to construction, it's the Tarrant Road at Arbor Creek. If you're familiar with this road, it's very low, it overtops. Often there's no sidewalk on one side and the sidewalk on the other side is not doing so well. So this will elevate the roadway out of the 100 years, so it won't overtop anymore, widen it a little, and add sidewalks to both sides. So this is something where we have to go through we have to move the sewer lines, there's some things we have to do to get to that point, get some utilities relocated. So even though the plans are almost done, we'll probably not go to construction until summer, which is a good time to do a water project, by the way, when we're no rain. So now, Cora, who is our utility customer service, is gonna talk about the new water rates that we have.
Thank you for having me. My topic is going to be really quick, but it's something that very interests you guys. Each year, we hire a consultant who will help us determine what our water rates need to be. We have to pay for the water that we buy. We have to pay for treatment. We also have to pay for infrastructure. And then we also have to pay for some of the capital improvement projects that we just discussed. So we do that every year, and they help us determine what our rates need to be. This year, for the first time since 1996, we had a change to our tiers. Since 1996, we've had 3 tiers. This year, we're introducing 5 tiers. The good news about that, though, is that we are maintaining our, what we refer to as our lifeline rate. That's that 12 cents for residents who use 3,000 gallons total or less. And then we had previously a 0 to 20 tier and an over 20 tier. This year, what we introduced is we kept the lifeline tier and the rates. So that rate did not change. That's been maintained for many, many years now. We separated out 0 to 20 to 0 to 10 and 11 to 20, each with its own rates. And then the over 20 into 2 tiers, 21 to 30 and over 30. The great news about it is this little chart down here, I thought it would be interesting for you guys to see that 27%, almost 28% of our residents make up that 0 to 3 tier. And that they make up 5.7% of our usage. 50% of our citizens make up 85% of our usage. The great news about that is that 0 to 10 rate, you will see decrease from the 487 to the 450. So that's a great thing. So that the higher tier customers are the ones who are going to see the higher rates. I wanted to show you a year-to-year comparison. So from 22 to 23, what your rates would be. The 0 to 3, there's a slight increase, $2.14. The 10,000 gallons usage at 5,000 gallons wastewater will actually see a decrease of $1.10. And that's because of that rate decrease from 47 to 450. And then the slight increase from the other 2. That concludes what I have to say, and I'll be available for questions later.
Thank you, ladies. Great job. Appreciate you. And, Cora was telling you about water rates. We do get complaints, you might suspect, every now and then about the fact that we're raising the water rates. Well, since we get our water from other sources and they raise the rates, that's what we do as well. We have to pass that along whether we like it or not. That's just the way of the economy. So now we have our next speaker is going to be Dr. Patricia Redburn, and she takes care of our landfill, and she does a fabulous job of that. And all of you are still probably trying to recover from the new day that you put your trash out, right? Did you have to write yourself a big note like I did and a reminder? And, well, so far we almost made it, haven't we, Dan? So far we have. At least the good news for us is recycle is still on Wednesday. We didn't have to remember anything there. So Patricia is going to give you the scoop on the rest of the story.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I appreciate your patience with this route balance. I know that kind of a change is an adjustment, and everybody's really been wonderful about that. So the news for tonight, the rest of the story, as she says, is that we have a change in the holiday collection, but it's a good change. This change is going to mean that everybody in the city, regardless of what day your holiday falls on, will still have 2 garbage days per week. Okay. You wonders how that's going to unfold. All right, Rose, can you wait back there? If you haven't picked one up, we have the holiday schedule at the back of the room that's available to you. And I'll just walk you through it real quickly. For those of you that were Wednesday, Saturday, and now you're Tuesday, Friday, right? We've got a holiday coming up in Thanksgiving, that'll be Thursday. So what's going to happen is that for the Thursday folks that are they're not going to be served on the holiday, they will put their trash out Friday. And you will put your trash out Saturday. So that'll only happen during holiday weeks. Your services will shift by one day. So say Christmas is on Monday. All of the services for that week will shift by day. So, nobody's being served on Monday. Tuesday, Monday folks will put their trash out. And everything will just slide by that day. So recycling will happen that week on Thursday. Are we good? Good.
Hold on to this.
Yes. Hold on to that.
Let's have extra green bins back there.
We do. We have extra recycling bins in the back there with Rose. Oh, yes, thank you, Michelle.
Just remind us what you plug in the green recycle.
Okay, in the green bin, you could put your aluminum cans, you could put newspaper, you could put glass bottles and jars. We don't want to see anything like clothes hangers or garden hose or baby diapers or, pizza boxes, prefer no pizza boxes, particularly if they've got food. So the main rule of thumb is if it's clean, empty, and dry, you can go in there.
What about plastic, peanut butter containers that are hard to get clean? Do you still want them or do you want us to put them in the trash?
If it's got a lot of food contamination in it, please put it in the trash. Okay, all right, and I'll be available for questions after. Thank you.
My husband is the expert on trash, and, I don't know if you've ever seen him, if it looks on Facebook, he does the famous trash toss. So I appreciate him taking care of that, except when he gets it in the trees. That doesn't work for us. So here we go, 6:45, we're right on schedule. I love this transportation with Carol DeVries, our director, and she's gonna give us some District 1 projects, and we've already told you about how fabulous they did with the signs and everything. So Carol, welcome.
Good evening. Let me go over some of the roadway projects from FY 23. Mayor has probably aware quite a few of them, but some of them maybe not. Sales tax projects last year, concrete replacement, curb and gutter, the Canadian Circle, Northtown Drive, and Egyptian Way, and also an alley behind Canadian as well. There were quite a few projects this year in District 1 in comparison, so we have less next year, but FY 23 pavement assessment, we have several different locations. Slurry seal was done on Sunnyvale, on Hard Rock, West Oakdale, and on Hines Way. Also asphalt replacement on Egyptian, and we've got two that are currently still ongoing, and that is North Carrier street replacement and Great Southwest Parkway concrete repair and an asphalt overlay. For briefly, the FY 24 sales tax, we're going to look at Northtown, Typhon, and Duncan Perry, and pavement assessment, asphalt recycling on East and West Rock Island, and mill and overlay of asphalt on Marshall, and 161 railroad tracks. The other item I was going to bring to you is an update on the Wildlife Parkway project, which is a Dallas County project. When they're on that line between almost adjacent two cities, often the county will oversee. So this is a Dallas County-led project. It's been going pretty well. It's almost 50% complete. We're like 49.4, so I'm going to call it 50. We're estimating about another 18 months to completion. The majority of the bridge work, there's 3 bridges total, has been done, and they're pouring the bridge decks now. So they're column bits, they're pouring bridge decks now. It's all coming together pretty quickly. Most of the utilities have been relocated, the new storm drain lines and utilities, water lines are in. And starting this month will be some of the signal work at the Beltline intersection. That one's getting some rebuild work done with this project projects modifications. One you probably noticed, the Good Loop Linear Trail is closed at Lower Tarrant, and it's gonna be that way for some time. However, we're working with the contractor and the county to see if there's anything we can do to shorten the complete closure time. He's looking for ways, so we're in contact with him on a weekly basis, trying to see if there's any way to get that open sooner. There are big grade changes, so safety is paramount. It's not something we can change quickly. We've got to make sure it's safe. So, that's the reason it's closed, is because of the grade changes, just so that safety is the most concerning issue on that. So, I'll be in the back for questions if you guys have anything.
And if you happen to live off of Duncan Perry or North Carrier Parkway, from, let's see, I-30 on down, how do you like the way that looks? Do you love the improvements there? Oh, yes.
Yes.
So we're so grateful for those, and of course, that's a work in progress as well. But, so thankful for the way that looks and the way they got it striped and everything. Now, we get to talk about fun and games. I love it when we get to parks, arts and recreation. And we have our wonderful new director, Ray Serba. Ray has history with the city of Grand Prairie, even worked with my mom previously. And now we have him back here in Grand Prairie helping us. So we want to welcome Ray back to Grand Prairie and get a good report from him. Thank you, Ray.
Good evening. Can everybody hear me? Yeah. Ray Serta, Parks, Arts, and Recreation Director. It's a pleasure being here tonight. I'm going to go over a couple of some improvements that we're doing in District 1, and then I'll actually be going over a big special event that we're having called Prairie Lights. I'm sure y'all have heard of that. The first major project is Tyree Park Phase 2. We've already completed Phase 1, but Tyree is Phase 2 we got a $2 million grant through ARPA through Tarrant County, and a special thank you goes out to Tarrant County Commissioner Devin Allen for his help on that. So kudos to the county commissioner for that. Project status is we're in the design phase, and we hope to be completed by the fall of 2024. Up on the PowerPoint, you can tell that we're going to be getting the playground swing addition, the NFC fitness court addition. We're going to have a continuation of our trail development. We're also going to have drainage improvements for a multi-purpose and for a field addition on the east basketball court with natural elements. We're also going to have park landscaping and irrigation additions, of course, and some park furnishings. The next item that we're looking at is our Veterans Memorial Star Roof. Everybody's familiar with the Veterans Memorial Park. Right now, it's currently in the design status of that. We hope to have it completed by 2024. It's going to be each point of the star will be connected to the existing service column. It's going to look beautiful. There's going to be solar lighting, and it's going to be golden color. And that's just a rendering that we have up there right now. The next item I want to talk to you about is the 9/11 emergency location. This is going to be placed on all our Lone Star Trail, Good Link Trail, the Mike Lewis Park Trail, the Fish Creek Linear Park Trail. Right now, we're currently designing. We hope to have everything done by the winter of 2024. This is actually going to be located in every quarter mile of our trail. Installation of the 9 emergency signs with location indicators. This, the item on the right where it says your 911 location is FC 2.50. that's if something is happening to you while you're on the trail, you can actually call the fire department or the police department, and they'll know where this location is, so they'll get to you at a quicker, more response. The next thing is the wildlife, park improvements and the Good Leaf Trail. The parts in the yellow is, we're actually gonna hook up the Good Leaf Trail with the Lone Star Park Trail. As you can see, that's where it's gonna be at. And the blue part is the existing pavilion. That will actually stay there. And we're actually moving the parking lot where the red color is, that's where we're relocating that to. The next thing I'd like to talk to you is the Prairie Lights Holiday Light Experience. This year that we're looking at starting on Thanksgiving Day, November 23rd, and it goes all the way to New Year's Eve on December 31st. Gates open at 6 p.m. We're gonna have a drive-through holiday light experience. We have over 4 million lights set along a 2-mile path with hundreds of displays that will be throughout the park. We have our holiday village. It's a lighted walk-through forest. We're gonna have carnival games. We're gonna have photos with Santa, concession vendors, and also photo opportunities throughout the entire park. Some of the 2023 pricing that council approved this year is our car general admission is $50, limos is $150, shuttles and vans $150, and then commercial buses are $200. Believe it or not, we do get a lot of limos and shuttle and buses that come through. One good thing that we're doing this year is the general admission from November 27th through December 1st is $35 for the general admission special. So if you want to go early, that's the time to go for $35, and that's from November 27th through December 1st. And then one good thing that the council did this year is they voted to have, for Grand Prairie residents, an additional $10 off the general admission price. So instead of $50 for Grand Prairie residents, it's going to be $40 for general admission. And you pick up a coupon at any of your local recreation facilities or your library facility. You can connect with us at grandprairie.org. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and of course X at Prairie Lights. And of course, I'll be here at the very end to take any comments or questions that you have. I do have 2 individuals in the back, Steve Bloomer, who's our park manager, and Rod Hayes, who's our superintendent of recreation. Thank y'all so much.
That's great information, Ray. I always love to hear about the parks and arts and recreation, but I'm still sort of in shock that it's almost November and time to think about Prairie Lights. Wow. Now we'll move right on to our next item, who is beautiful Cameron Thompson, our downtown coordinator, and she's going to give you some more information regarding holidays.
Hi everyone, I'm Cameron Thompson and I'm the downtown coordinator, and I'll be going over different events that we have coming up for downtown. So just 1 second. Okay, so first coming up, so over the summer we've been doing the farmers market, and we take the farmers market on the move to different locations in Grand Prairie. And so our next market on the move will be on Sunday on October 22nd from 10 to 2 p.m. And we just wanted to make it more accessible to people who didn't live super close to downtown. And that one will be at Ruthie Jackson Center. So if you can't make it to the normal farmers market on Saturday, we'll have another opportunity to go on Sunday. Also next Thursday, we have Music on Main. This is something that we started last year. It's our 2nd year doing it. And it's basically just live music, free live music, the first Thursday of every month from April to October. And you can come out on Main Street and listen to live music. Obviously, the 26th is not the first Thursday of the month, but we wanted to end our Music on Main series with the Grand Prairie Fine Arts Academy Jazz Band because they ended our season last year, so we wanted to get them back because they're amazing. So come out and enjoy the cooler weather and listen to some jazz music with us next Thursday. Additionally, a super fun event that we have coming up is on October 28th, which is next Saturday, for Dia de los Muertos. There is a lot for this event. There's a lot that you can do. There's a lot to see there. So come and enjoy that. We started off with a butterfly release, followed by a candlelit processional, and there will be arts and crafts, loteria, we'll have mariachi, ballet folklorico performances. So it's all around a super great event. And so please come out and enjoy that. And then to get the Christmas season started on December 1st, the mayor will be lighting a Christmas tree right in front of City Hall at 6 o'clock, starting at 6 o'clock. So we'll also have pictures of Santa, we'll have choir performances, arts and crafts, and then we'll have an ice skating rink again this year. And speaking of the ice skating rink, it is a free ice skating rink. It's real ice, downtown Grand Prairie. It'll be right in front of the Christmas tree. It'll be for the whole month of December 1st through the 26th, closed on Mondays and closed on Christmas Day as well. But it's free ice skating, free skate rentals, and there will be no reservations this year, so you can just come out when you can and skate. We have 30-minute sessions for everyone. And we also have a selfie station that will set up in front of the Christmas tree, so you can get pictures with your family, and there'll also be hot chocolate and treats as well. So we don't have the times yet for the ice skating rink, so please follow us on social media. We have Facebook and Instagram, and then I also have the QR codes and the links and like on the back on the counter that you guys can look at as well. But that's just a little bit about downtown and what we have coming up, and I'll be available for questions after. Thank you.
Cameron, just for my information, how many of you have been to Farmers Market downtown? Oh, good, a lot of you. And some of you have been to Music on Main. I know that some of you have, correct? And I was just thinking, I'm hoping that you will put the tree lighting, for instance, a free event on your calendar and come be part of that, and you'll get to see. Well, I love going to Farmers Market because I get to see friends and different people that I don't get to see normally anywhere else. So it's always a great thing to take advantage of those opportunities. Now, it's 6:59 and we've covered our agenda. I love it when that happens. That's almost like having the exact change when you're buying stuff. We have those things that I like. Really enjoy. Now we can move on to questions and answers, and we'll have Claudia will take the microphone, or if you would like for them to come down, then we can have those who have questions. If you could come up here and ask your question. And again, as a reminder, those who are watching on Zoom, if you can submit your questions through the chat, we'll be happy to address those as well. And if you're trapped in the middle of an aisle and you have a question, that is a portable mic, correct?
I'm sorry.
Pardon me? I said for those that might be in the middle of the aisle, that's a portable mic that we can take.
Yes,
with.
absolutely.
Okay, so who would like to get us started here, Anna?
We have a question on Zoom for Patricia. Do you still accept plastics 1, 2, and 5 for recycling? And is there any possibility of having recycling bins with lids?
Thank you. Yes, we do still take plastics 1, 2, and 5 in the bins, and no lids for right now.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Patricia. Dr. Redfern. Do we have anything else online?
Not yet.
Not yet online, but I know we have questions in the audience. Would anyone like to start us off in the audience? And would you state your name for us as well?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Joe Wangler. I am a longtime resident of Grand Prairie. I've actually got 3 questions. One for the, police chief, when he got up there, said a road running adjacent to Duncan Perry. Now, I wanna see, when, back in high school, you picked it up at Tarrant Road in the right to the country. So I was gonna see, what part of, Duncan Perry are you talking about?
Yeah, it's actually adjacent to Duncan Perry, so you know we have a lot of problems with, 18-wheelers that are coming up Duncan Perry between Sunnyvale and Avenue K, I believe that is, right?
The Egyptian.
Well, Egyptian's on the other end, but I'm talking, yeah, by the elementary school. So this is actually behind the elementary school. It's gonna go run north and south. It's kind of by all the commercial, traffic, commercial, businesses. So in other words, right now, when the trucks are coming back to the, west, they have to turn around. Otherwise, they're having to go up Duncan Perry, right? And so some of them are doing, I think either a rooster got in here or somebody sponsored.
Nick, you have a hard time answering his question.
So to answer your question, the rooster put up, all right. So to answer your question, sir, it's running adjacent to Duncan Perry, north and south, kind of behind the elementary school.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'm not gonna take a whole lot of time here. I got about the cleanup on Duncan Perry, from the Egyptian, it goes around to, Avenue K, Larson. It's Sunday, it's just a bit, I've seen the cleanup crews there. And the next day, it'd be just as bad as garbage being thrown out in there. And I'm volunteer and I got a lot of time on my hand. They just shut the road down. And some more volunteers would happily walk there and clean it up like we did in Boy Scouts on Saturday.
I can touch on the enforcement side of that. That's a real tricky problem because as I mentioned earlier, as soon as everybody sees the cops, the halos come out, right? And it's such a beautiful area, but it's dark and it's easy to throw things out the window, as you know better than anyone, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So sort of having, cops out there, dressed up like a tree is pretty tough to catch them. But what we do is, you've seen our electronic signage out there saying we'll write you a ticket if we catch it. Our code enforcement team is out there quite a bit. And then I think our cleanup litter crew also is, I think that's on, that's not our team, but we do, participate out there picking stuff up. Ryan, what am I missing?
Like volunteer groups are out there all the time, the litter crew, code, police. I was just thinking, I don't like the state problem out there, putting my input in there, closing it down for 2 or 3 hours to cause a problem, which puts peer pressure on other people. Maybe think twice before you throw something out the window. That's it. Thanks.
Well, we could, I don't know about shutting down the road altogether, but if there's a group that wants to get out there, like a Keep Very Beautiful, or something along those lines, our officers would be more than happy to accompany them out there, make sure they're safe and light it up with our safety vehicles.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, you bet.
I know we have a fantastic neighborhood of volunteers that do that almost every weekend. And you know that if I could put a red light on my car and do a citizen's arrest when I see them, I would love to do that. But the chief hasn't given me permission to do that yet. But, we don't like people going through and using our neighborhood as a garbage can. And I'm with you on that all the way. And as stiff a fine as we can give them or any way we can stop that, I'll be behind you on that, as long as it's legal. Anyway, also, yes, go right ahead.
This is concerning garbage cans as well. I guess it's for Chad. I've also been speaking with code compliance for past years on a dumpster behind my house. It is located about 5 feet from my fence, and it's about the size of a garbage truck with a compactor on. And so it goes off all day, all night. Found out after a lot of research that, a lot of
officers going out there, code officers looking at it. By my own research, found out that it's there legally and has a permit being there. So they will move it 20 feet from my yard. But I guess the issue that I'm having is 20 feet is not that much for the smell that my children have to deal with. The trash debris that comes out of it and just health in general and the noise for my kids sleeping at night. And so, I've done research and I found that I don't know if there's a way to put a barrier around it, a wall. I know in Irving, they have code where it has to have a brick wall around it. Again, this is 200 mobile homes, dumping it in there, emptied out once a week. And so my concern is what else we can do for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And, Ryan, are you gonna speak to that, or who on the staff will speak to that for us? Ryan?
So there's lots of requirements about when a screening wall is required, around the dumpster or a trash compactor. So this is the first I'm hearing this issue. So if you want to talk to me after or we can step out real quick now, I want to get more information from you and, make sure we're doing everything we can.
Thank you, Ryan. Good. Sometimes we can't solve the problem completely, but if we can make it better, that's what we want to do. Now, do we have any other questions? Yes, Ms. Marcia. Claudia's getting her steps in, and Marcia's right in the middle here in the blue shirt. And we graduated together. Welcome, Marcia.
Thank you. I just like to understand the reason for the garbage collection change. I'm doing okay with it, I just like to understand that, because I can deal with it.
Patricia, would you like to come back up? Patricia, you might as well sit on the front row for a while. Just in case. Thank you.
Yes, Republic came to us with the request, and they have the right to do that. We don't have anything in our contract that prevents them from ever making a change if they discover that one is necessary. They had the opportunity for some additional trucks that would allow them to make shorter routes, more routes, shorter routes, get the guys off of the trucks faster, particularly during the extreme heat and the extreme cold that we're now experiencing. So it was a reasonable request. They pitched us the holidays, so we were pretty happy about that, but it's been an adjustment.
Thank you. Thank you, Patricia. Yes, Ms. Days.
Alexander Davis, it's a pleasure to be here. My question is this, I'm always dealing with the children. Y'all, do you have a list or anything that I have a legacy? Do you have a list? Because some of the people are having problems paying the bills, electric bills and stuff like that. So do you have a list of nonprofits that help out with families?
Claudia, do you have that list? Are you aware of a list? I know we have a list of the nonprofits, and I think that might be our volunteer coordinator, Elena Harris, who keeps up with that. Could they see you after?
Yes, absolutely. I'm happy to get your information and we'll follow up with you back.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. Anyone else? Questions and answers? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Peggy Gray. And I have a question of this chief of police. Is there a limit on the number of cars that a household can park on the street?
Ms. Gray, that depends if we're talking about a private residence or a short-term rental. If you're talking about a private residence, so long as the vehicle is legally parked, it's not more than 18 inches off the curb, and it's, the vehicle is properly registered and so forth, it can be parked anywhere on a public roadway, provided there is a signage to the contrary and so forth, but generally speaking. Now, short-term rental, you cannot park on the street at all. You have to park on the property of the short-term rental. Does that answer your question, Ms. Gray? If I didn't satisfy you, because I got the look, I'm getting, my spidey sense is telling me I'm failing here, so I'll stay behind.
Chief, that's a common question. that we all get. And the basic law is you can park 10 cars on the street if.
Yes, that's
on that
correct.
street.
And I
That's
think
a blunt answer.
if the spirit of the question is, my neighbor's parking in front of my house and it's frustrating me, I get that question a lot. And unfortunately, the law is you can legally, if it's legally parked, you park anywhere on a public road.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, ma'am.
Marcia again.
About the parking. If you have parking on both sides of the street, and it looks to me, usually when that happens, you couldn't get a fire truck or an ambulance down there. That doesn't seem to be safe or legal.
So, there is width requirements on the roadway that our transportation team could probably touch on that a little bit better than I could, but, if the roads are designed in width by code to be able to accommodate that, if they can't, then there's signage to indicate that you can't park there. But it's tight, and I think the fire chief could probably, better speak to that. I can just tell you, if they're legally parked, there's room for the fire truck or the ambulance, not much we can do.
Right, well, I didn't think there was, and so that was.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you my card. If there's a particular street you're talking about, we'd be glad to take a look at it. You bet.
Thank you, Chief. Anyone else?
Next one.
Oh, good.
Are there any plans we do W.E. Roberts, Stevens on W.E. Roberts, 35 miles an hour? But you cannot drive 35 miles an hour.
I love that question.
I'm saying we're not gonna fix the road.
I love that question because W.E. Roberts is on the list to be repaired. I believe they're waiting for the drainage and all that to go in where they don't have to tear it up again. Let's see. Carol, would you like to speak to that? I think I just emailed you recently about that.
Yeah, we are gonna work on W. Roberts, but after the road has been approved, we would go back and redo studies to see what the 85th percentile should be, and determine.
But we are gonna fix the road.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, it's on the list. I had it earlier on W. Roberts for this.
And what year? I mean, I'm just.
2035.
It is in 24, I'm almost better than it is.
So I'm glad you asked that question. I love it for that. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Yes, this is Joe Wangler again. I have a message for, a question to Carlisle. And the question is, wildlife, well, we call it Lion Country Safari Parkway. When it comes through there, to Lower Tarrant, how is it gonna tie into 161? Is there gonna be a ramp? Because right now, I can come down 161 and get off of, Lower Tarrant and be right into my neighborhood through Tiago. But, I'm thinking about,
There won't be a freeway access, that's really, if anything different than what it is now, we're not changing anything on the state side. Yeah, it's just bringing it through, connecting it to what is there now at North.
so it's basically just gonna connect go underneath.
Straight line all the way, yeah, go from that line to 160.
So people can just get on to 161 from right there. It's just taking relief off that line road over there. Yeah, okay,
But no additional ramps or on-ramps.
it's just increasing traffic. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question for Chief Fight, regarding the, EMS, I'm not sure what the exact label for it is, but the EMS, contract for folks citizens, residents to register for an annual, are you getting my brainwaves? You know what I'm talking about?
Exactly.
Okay. I called the office several months ago, and the individual that I talked to said that the program was being phased out. But then my parents tell me they've received their re-registration, so would you please speak to that?
Yes, and thank you for bringing it. We do have an EMS subscription program, been around since 1999. These things are with the federal government and how the billing works, especially accepting federal money. We're really having to phase this program out. So the city council, upon our guidance, decided, I believe it was in 2019 maybe, that we were gonna stop all new registration and allow those who are registered to continue, knowing in 5, 10, 15 years, this program will naturally just go away. So if they were a current member, we can get them re-registered, yes.
Thank you.
Great question. All of them have been good questions. Anybody else? Anyone else? Yes, sir. Right here, Claudia, on the front row.
Talk pretty loud, so,
Well, we have it going out on Zoom, so let's get the microphone here for you.
well, my name is Dennis Crowell, and I live in Grand Prairie, I've just gone 4 years. Now, I don't put that on, I don't put that.
Put your microphone up to your mouth.
Okay,
There you go.
all right, I'm Dennis Crowell, and Grand Prairie for 4 years, so I don't want to put that over there. I have a question, it's on non-911 calls, whatever, it's called. So is there any changes been made to, call me, whatever, a complaint, violent noise or something suspicious or whatever, because last time I called, I thought they told me that, an officer, if I was willing to meet the officer, or otherwise you would not be an officer sent out or whatever. Did I hear that right, or was that, because I called back and then I said I would. I'm not sure if I heard it the way I heard it. Is that your?
Mr. Crowd, it's hard for me to speak to that specific call because I don't know the details, but let me just tell you what my team knows my philosophy very well. I don't delineate between a non-emergency and emergency number. So if something is, the only number I need you to remember is 911. It's going to the same team anyway. Something is suspicious, something feels wrong, 911. If you need an officer to come out and take a report, 911, don't worry about the non-emergency number. I don't even want you to take the time to look at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know sometimes you get lots of calls and some of them show up and there's nothing there.
That's okay, because that's why, so this will give me a good chance to address our crime fighting strategy. So as Ms. Jorja was so kind to mention, we moved up to the 8th safest major city in Texas. The reason is because we have very tenacious officers. So if you call 911 because something doesn't feel right, you don't wait until something happens, but instead your spidey sense is going off. That gives us 30 more seconds. That makes all the difference on being able to catch somebody and not. So, without question, you call 911. The other thing is in Grand Prairie, you call 911, you get a cop. So that's just all there is to it. If you want an officer, we send them every time. We don't have a policy where some of our peers, they don't respond to say traffic accidents. We don't do that. We'll roll on anything we need. That answer your question, Mr. Crowell? Okay.
So just go 911.
911, tell a friend, yep.
And one more question. And I don't know if this pertains to the police department. So, a sign that says no trucks, like means a no truck sign. We have one coming in the back street say our neighborhood and maybe the entrance. What does that sign mean?
That means that particular, provided it's a state or city sign, that means it's a no truck route. So 18-wheelers, commercial vehicles, they cannot travel down that roadway unless they have business in that area, right? But they can't be leaving and cutting through if it's a shortcut, can't do it. And I've got my commercial vehicle team here, but I can tell you that in your neighborhood, that is, well, you said you've been here 4 years, so I suspect you know it's a hot button issue. That's a very costly citation for those truck proprietors.
Right.
So that, does that answer that?
Yes.
Okay.
So UPS and all that, moving trucks when they come in, if you're gonna move them there, that's.
Moving truck is acceptable because they have business within that area. So UPS is not, those gray brown trucks, that is not a commercial vehicle in the definition that we're talking about. We're talking about the 18 wheelers, ones with big trailers. If it's like a bread truck, it's okay. Box trucks, okay. Yeah. And you bring up a good point, because a lot of the neighbors assume when they see those box trucks, they think that that's a violation, and really it's not. And I will tell you, one of the challenges that we also see is a neighbor might see a box truck, and so they'll put on next door. There's a commercial vehicle, which next door, it's a great platform, but it's a bane of my existence because I can't see what everyone is posting on next door. The platform will not allow the police department to view it for privacy. So if there's issues, by the way, that you're seeing on next door, please reach out to the police department and let us know. We don't have that visibility. Now, we can make a post, but we can't see what you're posting. So sometimes it's a disadvantage because I can't see the pulse of what's happening in your neighborhood, and that's a great example of one is the box trucks. And Ms. Jorja will take a picture and send it to me, trust me.
Gentlemen, right?
Good evening, Mike Campbell, I'm a former resident in Grand Prairie. And first I wanted to comment, I appreciate what the police department city. It's tough if I enjoy telling I'm coming from Grand Prairie. But about 2.5 years ago, my house across the street, fire came in, renovated from a 4-bedroom to a 5-bedroom. I know we've all been driving about these short-term rentals. But my first experience was there was a high school after graduation party, about 30, 40 kids. Now that time I called the police department and they took care of it. Got my mailbox knocked down, that's okay. But since then, again, more parties, large groups coming in anywhere from 15, 20 cars. Talked to code compliance, he told me what to do, just let them know, send them pictures. I'm saying, send you pictures. Take pictures tonight. So I sent them pictures, I've seen the trash and all this kind of stuff. And so after about 6 months, they finally said, well, if you see this again, call the police. And I go, oh, man. You know? So we did, and through their help, it's really improved. It's now been almost 2.5 years. But the people that rent these out are getting smarter and smarter. Now they just have car carriers bring the people to the house and drop them off, and they bring them and pick them up the next day or the end of the weekend. You know, when we bought our house almost 40 years ago, it's a single family home. The dynamics have changed, and I understand that because I've raised my kids in that neighborhood. And I would like to see young families come in there and do the same thing as these things, you know, are coming up. But I see some of the houses, there's already 2 more right near me that has been rebuilt from 4-bedroom and 5-bedroom. I'm more concerned about those becoming short-term rentals because of the way the housing market is. I know you guys are having to wait for whatever's going on over there, but I guess my question is, what is a short-term rental for? I thought it was like Springfield Inn or something. They're just going in there and spend the night, maybe, you know, doing whatever activity they're around doing in the DFW. But it seems to be pretty consistent. It's there, and they're bringing crowds in for parties, big get-togethers. I didn't know if that's what it was supposed to be for or not.
So, sir, I can hear you talking, but I've got this solar flare right in my face. So I'm going to do my best to kind of look your direction, and hopefully I can get your question answered. Let me start by saying that there's not a person at the police department or on the city council that doesn't share your frustration with short-term rentals. I can promise you that. Number one. Number two, I suspect the reason that you've seen things starting to back off in the last, I think you said 2.5 years, but really, in my view, in a meaningful way, in the last probably 18 months, is because our council, under the, back then, I think our city manager was deputy city manager, came up with this ordinance to limit really strict limitations on short-term rentals that gave us, the police department, the ability to go in and take quick and decisive action, not just against the person that rented it. That's one part of the issue, but then we have to take up the ownership group, because if they just factor that in as a cost of doing business, then you're gonna continue to have your quality of life impacted. So a couple of those things are cars parked on the street can't do it, as I mentioned. There's an occupancy maximum. So if they're having a lot of people in the house, can't do it by our ordinance. And then we, our code compliance team, can go back and write the owner a ticket, not just for what you see, but if they're advertising on Airbnb or VRBO, they can fit up to, 30 people in the house. Just that advertisement alone is a citation. And so, under Ryan Simpson's leadership, he's over at code compliance. We really kind of hit them twice. First, we'll go deal with the individuals at the home if they're impacting your quality of life on the short term. And when that happens, I want you to call 911. But then the officer's job is to follow up with the code team so that we can really get after the owner. As I said at the outset, I don't ever speak for the council, but I think there is an appetite to find a legal way to do away with short-term rentals in Grand Prairie. However, I think they want to do it in a way that doesn't tie our hands with an injunction to where now tomorrow, what you've been enjoying this 2.5 years of peace suddenly goes back to party town because we can't enforce the parking and the occupancy and so forth. So as it relates to what is it used for, I agree with you. It's supposed to be for a night or two or maybe up to a month of just maybe when you're displaced. But that's not what we see. We see a fair share, or did, of the party goers. That's really gone down quite a bit after the change in the ordinance. Did that answer your question, sir?
Very frustrating, and I know I wouldn't want one next door to me, and that's the way I deal with it. That's why I'm all for limiting them. Yes, Darwin Day.
Darwin Day, resident 36 years. I also short-term rental questions. One moved in next to me, and I had to figure it out. I wasn't notified, and I'd like question number one, what is the process? And the second process is every week it's a random happening as to whether or not they put out the garbage and where they put it. So the question is, who is responsible for telling them when to do it?
So I heard two questions there related to short-term rentals. One's related to garbage and then notification. So let me touch on the notification first, and Ryan, please let me know if I get this incorrect. In Grand Prairie, in order to operate a short-term rental, you have to be registered. You have to get a permit through the city. And part of that process is to notify the neighbors that there's going to be a short-term rental in there. Now, they don't all do that. And so we contract the company that goes out to try to help us sniff out all these short-term rentals that aren't registered, because then we'll go after the owner and decide for that as well. So I suspect that may be what happened in your case, and if you get time afterwards, I'd like you to give Mr. Simpson and tell him the address to make sure that we have it on our radar screen. Because all of our police officers, we have in our CAD system, anytime we can dispatch a short-term rental, our supervisors go out there, they respond, because we know what a big issue this is. And because you're really dealing with a transient population. So it's important that we take a very aggressive approach. So as it relates to how you should have been notified, it should have been through the registration process. Second question, I have no earthly idea about the trash or who tells them to put it out, but I suspect, I've stayed at them before, and not Grand Prairie, and put the pitchforks and torches away. And I had to pay a cleaning fee. So I suspect that the owner is responsible for having those folks put it out there. But if you see garbage out there that's languishing, pick up the phone and call us. We'll get it taken care of.
Thank you, Chief. And Chief, we said that you call Ryan or whatever, but most of this action happens on the weekend. So who do we call on the weekend when Ryan's not in the office?
Not
Just call 911, let them take care of it. And I've had people call me and text me and tell me, this is going on at the short-term rental in my neighborhood. My answer is call 911. That's the best way. And don't worry about calling 911 because somebody's parked crazy. Just do it. If they're in violation, call 911. It's okay. Any other questions?
We've been in Nottingham 56 years. We were really old. And, we noticed, I guess we have too much time. We retire, but there are a lot of vacant houses in Nottingham that we have not seen before. And I looked in the Nottingham directory and I think I saw 25 homes that didn't have a name. I don't think, maybe unlisted. But the neighborhood seems to be changing. I don't know if people are not buying in the neighborhood because of the short-term rentals, but we have definitely noticed there is a change. And there are many, seems to be vacant homes. No one can do anything about it.
Well, thank you, Nikki, for that comment, and that is a change, especially for Nottingham. Those houses would get snapped up really quickly, and, that is something for us to be on the lookout for and be alert about, and, hope that the short-term rental people don't come in and swipe those up. All right, any other questions? Ruben? Ruben's on the front row.
My name is Ruben Bronson, and I lived in Glenford for 83 years and grew up in Glenford High School. And I want to say one thing about the landfill. Glenford got one of the best landfills in Glen Prairie. And I think it's number one because I used to work out there. Got good bosses out there for church and roads. And I want to know about downtown Glen Prairie, about Calvary Baptist Church, what they're gonna do about it after they move.
Thank you, Ruben, for that question. And you know what? We have people here, but the mayor, I think, would like to tell us about that. Wouldn't you, Mayor?
Sure.
He's so good at this.
So whether you know it or not, the council of the city bought Calvary Baptist Church a few years ago. We bought it in a defensive mode more than anything else. Two reasons. One, we heard our own Grand Prairie Independent School District was thinking about buying it and turning it into a school with a daycare. And we really didn't want a school downtown. Then we heard a charter school may buy it, so we got together and came up with a vision for downtown that included, we're choking down Main Street, I don't know if you know this or not, from 4 lanes to 2 lanes. It should start 2025, Walter. I know you're not the guy, but you're the guy I've gone to about that question forever, so I always ask you. And it's supposed to be completed in 2028. Well, what does that have to do with Calvary? The council came up with a plan to buy Calvary, tear it down, buy Sonic, buy the old trading post and the land next door to the trading post, make a deal with Sonic to move them down to where the trading post is, and revitalize the Calvary area. And we voted the other night to give the contract to the Lakes. Now, the Lakes, Amanda and Jill Lake, you may or may not know who they are. She was on Channel 8 the other day. Her mother still lives here in Grand Prairie. They are the ones that completely took over Bishop Arts and have revitalized that. They've done downtown Waxahachie. They've done downtown Ennis. They're working on in Cedar Hill right now, next to Babes. If you go to Cedar Hill gave them 2 blocks to revitalize. So we just last council meeting, or maybe the council meeting before that, entered into an agreement to have our city manager and the staff work with them to what to do with Calvary. What we want to do, if you've ever been to Roanoke on Oak Street or downtown Grapevine, that's what we want. Maybe 10 years from now, I hope to 10 years from today, be able to stand on Main Street. And why am I saying 10 years? My goodness, we're not gonna get Main Street choked down for another 5 years. So after you get it choked down, where you can walk it, very accessible, no 18-wheelers on Main Street. Then we wanna get some shopping down there, so that's what's gonna happen in Calvary. It's gonna be torn down. There'll be some apartment living down there, maybe some townhomes, some businesses, retail, restaurants to try to revitalize downtown Grand Prairie. Calvary's already bought land down south at the old glider airport from GPASD. They're moving down there, so that's what happened. That's what's happened to Calvary.
Great. That was a complicated answer, but you got a lot of good information. And, as he said, when they choked down Highway 80, the 18-wheelers will be redirected down Jefferson. So that's how we're gonna get them there. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Penny Crawl, and I live in a neighborhood that's single family dwelling. And what if you suspect there's multi-family living in other houses? What can be done about it?
Chief, gonna address that?
Why not?
Put him down at the police chief.
So, I want to make sure I understand the question, because sometimes the terminology may mean something different to you than it does to us. So in our space, multifamily means apartment complexes. But I think what you're saying is you've got multiple people moving into a home. Yes. Okay, so, provided that they don't exceed any type of fire code violations, I don't think there's any law that prohibit, an individual from having a certain number of people, provided that they can handle the space. But let me tag in my partner.
Yeah, so is everybody living there, or are they taking a bedroom and renting it out to a family and then other families? So you got 3 or 4 different families in one house, or is it all one family?
I don't know, I suspect there's a lot of, cars and maybe, 2 small families or 3 small
Yeah,
families.
if they're subdividing that house into separate residences, there are some fire codes that certainly kick in, as well as building codes. That would be something that I would say get with Ryan back there. We'll get the address, try to get a bird's eye view of it. But if it's just a family of 12 with 6 teenagers and they all have cars, you know, welcome to the world, right? I mean, that's just not much you can do about that.
Any other questions? Yes, sir, Mr. Todd.
Jorja, as always, I think you have great town hall meetings. But after the meeting is over with, I'd like to speak to the, code enforcement person and the park and recreation guy. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you. Did you all hear that? Ryan and Ray, Mr. Twine would like to speak to you after the meeting. Any other questions or comments? I'm just gonna remind you all are the few that come here that keep up with what's going on. And you didn't hammer us too much about too many warehouses, because you know that if the landowner has the zoning of light industrial, they can put a warehouse in there. They just have to check all the boxes that are required and not have any variances. So if you want to know, would I rather have a grocery store or maybe HEB? Whatever. We always keep getting that. But anyway, yes, of course I would. But that's not what the zoning is. And if you don't like all the apartments going up, well, you'll have to dig through history and be angry at whoever zoned it that way. Because we don't have, our hands are tied as a council when they come to us and they have want to have multifamily, an apartment there, all we can do is make it the best one we can. Require them to make it first class and, make it go by all the rules. So thank you for that. And let's see, Eva Day has a question back there. She's second row from the back. There she is.
Okay. Lovely to follow you. I actually have two questions. The first one is, where are they putting the steak and ale? Do we know?
I know.
Oh.
I'm not supposed to tell you.
Oh.
And we don't know whether they're coming. That advertisement in Dallas Morning News was a surprise to all of us.
Well.
Georgia sends me a text and says, is this real? I send the text to Marty and Steve, and Marty says, I don't know, but I'll check it out. They did and I'll leave it did have a contract on some land on I-30, which is what I can say because that was in the news article. But Marty,
I can't figure out where on I-30.
Well, it could fit where they're going, but we don't know whether Marty had contact with the landowner and the landowner said it was real, but I don't know if it's real today.
That's correct, and I stay in touch with the landowner, and he's still got some issues. He owns several properties. He's still talking to them. It's a little more involved for his involvement than I think he'd like it to be, but he's still talking. There's still a hope, but I wouldn't hold your breath.
They haven't said no, but
Right.
Okay, while you're up there, my first question is, you didn't talk about the gateway to Grand Prairie.
Yes, be glad to. We didn't show it because we've been working with a lot of properties. We did have someone, we actually had the very first project go through council a year ago in April and receive approval on the 27 acres to the south, there right up next to Grand Prairie High School, where Stadium Drive's been extended. OHT partners out of Houston and Dallas had laid out plans for a wrap, very high quality garage multifamily at that location. It would fit in with corporate office and would make the urban environment. But of course, something happened in the country that affected them if they got their building permit. Interest rates went sky high. And so they've had to be very frank with us to say, we're still interested. We're waiting to see because of material costs going up and interest rates. They're still looking. I met with them, goodness, probably a month and a half ago. So they're still interested. We've also had someone tie up the property, the 12.5 acres immediately west of Grand Prairie Ford. It's owned by a physician that lives in Oklahoma, two physicians. They teamed up with a gentleman who grew up here in Grand Prairie named Hamza O'Day. His dad has owned Restoration Nation Construction here in Grand Prairie for a number of years. He's working with Dr. Khan and is laying out a plan to try to develop that acreage consistent with what was in the plan that OmniPlan Architects laid out that they branded Gateway Grand Prairie. So
we also have somebody put on contract the southeast corner there, the old Plattner High where the water tower is.
Yes, Mary Lane.
They haven't brought us anything, but they did contract with them.
Hamza O'Day also contracted with the Plattner family, but they did not accept his offer. They were all in agreement. We're moving forward to closing and they changed their mind.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sir.
One question.
Please.
How much money is gonna be pumped into the city of Grand Prairie through the cricket organization?
We don't know yet, to be honest with you. We do have, we feel pretty confident that we're gonna get an impact on this, World Cup. And in fact, we lobbied, Texas legislature to ensure that cricket would be considered a major events fund eligible event. The governor's office has funds available for that. And so we'll see. We'll probably have to estimate that to go after those funds for next year.
I think it's easy to say more than baseball brought in.
That's for sure.
There were 7,000 people out there over that weekend for 3 games.
Each night. Yeah.
The last 3 seasons of baseball had 7,000. They didn't have 7,000 the whole 3 seasons. They spent $20 million. We didn't. They did on the renovations to the ballpark. Ross Perot Jr. We got to meet Ross Perot Jr. and other very wealthy individuals that have put their money in to Major League Cricket. So when we were talking to Tom Hart, I remember Tom Hart telling me and Marty, "Oh my goodness, there's got to be more people show up at a cricket game than there have been at the baseball." It was dynamic. That weekend was so fun. It was crazy. If you were there that weekend, it was a party. We had people, Frisco, the mayor of Allen said, "Our folks are coming down cricket." We hope that it will help spur on other things. They're interested, if things keep going, to maybe even build a hotel on the site. And so, good question.
Great question. They will be adding temporary stands next year for the World Cup. And we'll take the capacity from about 8,000 up to probably close to 15 to 20,000 for all those matches.
Good question.
Sir, I have one question for you, please.
Yes, and I was-
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to know regarding the future resort development of Peninsula.
Yes, great question. Estes Peninsula has been something this city has given some thought to trying to develop as a resort type project. Actually did an RFP way back in 2002, prior to the Great Recession, had a group plan out a wildflower development. There were even plans for 36 holes of golf that were designed by a couple of professional golfers. Great Recession happened, that backed away. We've had several different groups kick the tires and think about it since then, but no action yet. So it still remains in our tax reinvestment zone number 3, so that the city can come in and help them. But that's a big, 1,200 acres, about 253 of that is developable. So we'll continue to put it in front of, have done that, and we'll continue to put it in front of some people who might can team up with the city. Yes, ma'am. Good question.
Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure who to direct this to. Chief Fight touched on it at that last meeting, that we were going to get a micro hospital or something at the old DFW Medical Center. What's the status of a hospital in our city of 166,000?
200,000.
200,000, yeah. Marty can tell you this, we've asked Baylor, we've asked Methodist, we've asked almost every major hospital group to take a look at us, because we think we're very underserved. The days of big hospitals are just gone. They're all going to surgical centers, specialty hospitals, micro center. Marty will touch on the old hospital was bought. It went through a bankruptcy. It's in an extremely challenging spot right now, trying to get up to speed with Marty.
Yeah, thank you, Chief. A group, a real estate investment trust, a REIT, as it's called, out of Wichita, Kansas, purchased the facility from the previous owners. They teamed up with a group that they hired to operate it. The operators have had a little bit of difficulty because at the start of the year, when we had the cold weather, pipes froze up and broke and ended up damaging some of the property they had to clean up. They've since had, their general contractor was just informed this past week that had died. So they're still trying to get it back up to where they would like to be. When I met with this rep from HJH, the REIT out of Wichita, Kansas that owns it, I talked with one of their representatives 2 weeks ago, and they said they're still, from what he had heard from the operator, they're still trying to get open before the end of this year. That's their plan. We'll see if that happens.
And Marty and Deputy Mayor Pro Tem and Chief, I never let, I can't let this question fly without talking about you, our team, and our gold standard.
It's great.
We get this question a lot. We need a hospital. We need it. Folks, I'm not saying we don't need a hospital. I was on the board of that hospital. But let me tell you what our team does for 9 years straight. For 9 years straight, our men and women have met the gold standard by the Heart Association. What that means is, if I were to have a heart attack right here, right now, by the time they come in and reach me, They have 90 minutes to get me on a slab with a cath in me. 90 minutes. They have to do that 90% of the time to reach the gold standard. We have done that 100% of the time, 9 years straight. So, what's important is we use the closest, most appropriate hospital rule. So if you're in South Grand Prairie, you have a you have a condition, they wouldn't take you to that hospital if it was a hospital open. They would take you to the closest, most appropriate, which would be Mansfield Methodist, if you will. So, if that hospital was up and running, anybody that has an injury here in Grand Prairie would not all automatically be taken there. Probably only 1/4 of the city would. Yeah, but proud of it, 9 years.
Because you bring up a great point, we do feel we're underserved. But to our west, south, north, and east, we have cardiac centers, we have stroke center, we have trauma centers on all 4 borders, all within 10 to 12 minutes. So while it's hard to believe that the city of 205,000, soon to be 250, doesn't have a name brand hospital, we're surrounded by them. So we're in pretty good shape, really.
Yes, and that has to do a lot, doesn't it? Because we are, as you mentioned before, 32 miles long, 8 miles wide, and we're the longest city in Texas, as I've heard. So if it's really fast to get to Arlington, because it's only 8 miles wide, we want you to be in the best place, not necessarily in Grand Prairie. We want you to be in the best place where you'll get the best care. Any other questions? I wanted to chime in a little bit on the fact that we have focused on Epic Central a long time. And that has been where all the attention has gone, and it's where it needed to go at that time. Because it was available, 161 had just gone through, and we love having that. In District 1, all we have to do now is get on 161, and we can get to Epic Central in about 10 minutes, something. It's just wonderful for us. Now, what I just want us to all be aware of and watch in District 1 is we have available land, as you know, at Beltline and I-30. And of course, the cricket is one thing, and the potential is there. We have another announcement to make that we didn't mention tonight. We cannot make it until we get permission, and the mayor will give us a great announcement for that area too. But it's the paradigm, the attention is going to be shifting. And I think that Beltline and I-30 will be a fabulous place for us in the future. And it's not going to happen overnight, but Lord willing, we'll live long enough to see it and enjoy it. So we can look forward to that as well. And I can't thank the staff enough for being here. You know, not every city has a fabulous staff, but we are blessed, and you don't really realize it until you don't have it. And then you say, oh, whoops, we don't have the staff that we did, but we are blessed with an outstanding staff, and that is, we appreciate you so much. And then, of course, the police, the fire, all of you are just beyond expectations. So, and our mayor. They are very, very good. And let's see, what is your title, Gerald? We introduced almost all of our, we didn't, what is it? Assistant to the city manager, Gerald Hodges. And we didn't introduce Rashad. Rashad Jackson back there is in planning and zoning. And I know we have some others, and I hope I didn't miss you, but we do have excellent staff, and we're 5 minutes early. We're going to get out 5 minutes early. So, you all are the best. We know that District 1 is the best, and we're so thankful to have you here. And God bless you, and have a fabulous week.